A while ago, I found out I was going to have a feature in a major news organization online, which is amazing, right? I should be celebrating. It's a great career thing. A lot of therapists would kill for that exposure. Yeah, I was really happy at the time. And yet, the moment the article went live, I suddenly got filled with anxiety. I was acutely aware that this website is read by probably millions, and I suddenly thought, what if people misinterpret what I'm saying? What if what I'm saying is wrong? What if people judge me negatively? What if other therapists sort of complain and say things? What if my regulatory body gets involved? All of these different fears. And the irony is, this is literally one sentence in an article amongst thousands. Probably no one even read it or noticed it. But that is the brain when being mass perceived. It's that acute awareness that once you're out there in the public in some way being seen, you lose control over how people perceive you. Or I should say, you lose the sense of control because we probably never had it in the first place. Why do we feel this way when we know we want to show up? We know we want to do these things for our career or whatever it is. Well, for the majority of human history, humans lived in very small tribes. Our brain is wired for a small community, a small tribe. We are not wired to be mass perceived. We're not even really wired for the communities that we live in today, let alone the mass perception of the internet. For our brain that evolved in the caveman tribe, belonging and being liked mattered. If the tribe didn't like you or your reputation was damaged, that would mean expulsion and literally mean death or no access to food, water, and shelter. So we're already primed to really care about what the group thinks. Today, you can open your app, post a video, maybe you accidentally go viral and you get 1 million views. You're using the same brain to understand that literally was designed to understand these caveman groups. No wonder it feels excruciating. Your logical mind knows that it doesn't really matter, but at the end of the day, our fear brain is trying to protect us, trying to keep us in the group, and every negative comment, every negative feedback, every hypothetical scenario that we're imagining feels like a threat. Look, this is an image of 500,000 people. That is what your brain is understanding when something says 500,000 views. It's actually no small thing. But the real fear isn't actually about being seen. It's about what being seen would mean. If I'm seen, will people think I'm stupid? Will they think I'm wrong? Will they think I'm arrogant? Will they not like me? And secondly, will that consequence last forever because now things are recorded and online? When we start to enter this line of thinking, we then enter a battle of identity management. You become a politician of your own life. You start self-monitoring, controlling what you're saying, not saying some things, not showing up some places, not stepping up when you need to. Essentially, we become very good at saying nothing. And the irony is the more disconnected you become from yourself, the more you self-monitor, you control how you're coming across, maybe say things you don't mean, not say things you do mean, the less authentic you are perceived, and ironically, sometimes then the less likable, because there's a lot of research that suggests authenticity is what is perceived as likable. We're trading authenticity for safety, which is completely understandable, but ironically can create the very perception or backlash that we're trying to prevent. So how do we overcome a fear that is hardwired into our biology and not really ready for the world we live in today? Firstly, you have to accept a brutal but liberating truth. You cannot control mass perception and you will be misunderstood. And it's also a fallacy that you were ever controlling any perception anyway. You need to reclaim the right to be misunderstood. And for many people, they're okay with this one-on-one because I think they feel like there's an opportunity to correct things or clarify things. But in a group, publicly, online, that can feel very different. But you need to reclaim the right to being misunderstood in those spaces too. It's really no different to day-to-day life. People will always misunderstand you. They will project onto you their ideas, their anger, their trauma, their worldview. You cannot prevent or control that. And if your goal is to be perceived perfectly by everyone, you will end up saying nothing. The cure for the fear of mass perception is to give up the desire to control and please the crowd and reclaim your right to being misunderstood. Your job is to show up and share what you're going to say in a way that's authentic for you. How the world responds is the world's choice, and hold in mind you can always respond back later. You are not trapped. So if you find yourself in your next opportunity, whether that's a podcast, a video, posting, whatever it is, ask yourself, if I was okay with being misunderstood right now, how would I be? And if you can, choose to act in that energy, because that is where your authentic self lives.